Hello my dear students and welcome to today's class. The topic for today is microorganism. Children, our planet Earth, there are a lot of organisms on this earth. Okay, some are very big, some are very small, and some are so minute, so small that you cannot see with your naked eye. Okay, so in this chapter today we are going to talk about different microorganisms. Okay, now what is a microorganism? First of all, any organism, a single celled organism which is so small, so minute that you cannot see with your naked eye is called a microorganism. Okay, so let's start the chapter. Can you all see on your screens? There are variety of organisms on a planet. An elephant is large in size, a tiger is smaller, and deer is smaller than tiger, whereas a cat is still smaller than the deer. So there are different animals, okay. Some are very big, some are small, some are smaller, like that, okay. But what are microorganisms? Okay. These organisms are There are organisms that are so small in size that we cannot see them with our naked eye. These organisms are called microorganism or microbes. The other name for microorganism is microbes. They are so small they cannot be seen by the naked eye. So how to see them? कैसे देखें उनको आखिर? If they are so small you cannot see with your naked eye, then how to see them? We see them with a microscope, with the help of an instrument known as microscope. So, a microscope is an instrument that helps the viewer to see objects that cannot be seen with the naked eye. Fine, children? So, how do you see these microorganisms? With the help of microscope. Fine? Now, come to the next one. There are different type of microorganisms now. If I talk about in general, there are basically 5 different type of microorganisms. Let me tell you about them. Okay. Now, microorganisms are found almost everywhere in the air, soil, water or inanimate objects inside and on the surface of living beings. Based on various characteristic features, they are divided into 5 major groups. They are bacteria, fungi, virus, algae and protozoa. Everywhere there are microorganisms, okay. Even on my hand right now also there must be some sort of microorganism which I cannot see, but if I put my hand under the microscope I would be able to see. So based on the different characteristic and all, they are broadly divided into 5 different categories, okay. They are bacteria, fungi, virus, algae and protozoa. Fine, children. First, I'll tell you about bacteria, okay. First, we'll go with bacteria, okay. You can see on your screens also, okay. These are the most common microorganisms that are found almost everywhere. Everywhere you will find bacteria, and some bacteria everything, children, has got a merit and demerit of its own, okay. So these bacteria also have got certain merits and demerits which I would be telling you further, okay. Now, based on the shape, they are of 4 main types: coccus, bacilli, you can see commas and spirilla. Here the diagram is also shown. You can just go through it, okay, children. Now, what is fungi? Okay, children, at home, what happens if you every day take bread and all in your breakfast? If you don't eat breakfast and the bread is left like that, it's left in the moisture, okay, you have not put in a proper container and all, it's left like that. What happens after a few days? After 4-5 days, you will see a yellow and black patch on it, okay. That is fungi, actually. The fungi has started growing on that bread, okay. So, have you seen dirty yellow black patches on the stale slice of bread? Do you know? These are actually a kind of microorganism. It is commonly called the bread mold. It belongs to a group of microorganisms called the fungi. Fungi are eukaryotic microorganisms. That is, they cannot make their own food. They depend on dead and decaying matter for their nutrition. Fungi, they cannot make their own food. Say what happens? It starts growing on dead and decaying plants and animal waste because it derives its nutrient from that. Fine, children? Now, the next one is protozoa. Okay? Can you all see on your screens also? Okay. Protozoa. The protozoa means the first animal. They are found in various habitats like soil, fresh water and marine water bodies. They are single-celled organisms that takes in nutrition from surrounding environment. Amoeba and paramecium are example of protozoa. Fine, children? Then next one is algae. Algae is a simple plant microorganism that are found in lakes and ponds. You must have seen water bodies which are stagnant. When the water does not move, it remains in one position only. What happens? A green leery thing starts growing on that. In here you call it algae. हिंदी में हम उसको क्या बोलते हैं? काई जिसे हम बोलते हैं. Patches there, velvet sort of patches there. That is algae. Okay. Now viruses. Okay. This is very important, children. Please listen to it very carefully. Okay. Virus means poisonous liquid. They are found almost everywhere. The group of microorganisms is too small in size to be seen through a contained microscope. A very powerful microscope called the electron microscope with a high magnification is used to view them. Now virus, they are so minute. Other things you can see in a common microscope, under a common microscope. But if I talk about virus, virus cannot be seen with that. It can be viewed only with the help of an electron microscope, which is very powerful. Okay. Viruses are on the bordering of living and non-living. They are available only when present inside a living body that they use as their host. They can live inside plants, animals and bacteria as well. While outside any living body, they show the characteristic of non-living thing. Hepatitis virus and rotavirus are example of viruses. Okay. The widely feared avian flu and swine flu are caused by virus. Children, it is very dangerous in case we come across any virus. What happens? A body, if we get any sort of virus in a body, we become unwell. Okay. Now, there are 5 main types of microorganisms. The existence of microorganism, whether it is a boon or a bane to mankind, remains a very debate issue till date. Children, I told you in the beginning only, everything has got a merit and demerit of its own. Okay. Sometimes it can be a curse for the society and sometimes it can be a blessing for a society. Okay. Now, come to the next one. Useful microorganisms. Now, I am going to tell you different microorganisms which are useful to us, and at the same time I am going to tell you about their harmful effects also. There are certain microorganisms, in case we get in touch with them or they start going anywhere, what harm we can get from them. Okay. So, okay, now can you see on your screens? Useful microorganism. First is medicinal use of microorganism. What are the different medicinal use of microorganism? First is antibiotics are substances obtained from bacteria and fungi that kill pathogens. Pathogens are disease causing microorganism. What is there? In case I am not well, okay, what happens? Pathogens start growing inside. Okay, they are living organisms which make us unfit. They cause us different diseases. So what happens? We take antibiotics, so that whenever we take those antibiotics, what happens? The pathogens which are inside the body, they end up, they are no more, they are killed. Fine. Then Antibiotics obtained from fungi. Penicillin is obtained from a fungus called penicillin. Okay. Then you get from fungi, and you also get from bacteria. Okay. Then production of vaccines. This is very important. Children, vaccination. What is vaccination? It's a dose given to you, okay, at different time, okay, so that whatever pathogens you have inside you, it gets killed up and your body is now disease free. Okay. When a foreign particle, that is pathogen, enters a body, it stimulates our immune system to produce substances that act against it. These substances produced by the body in response to the entry of pathogen as a defense mechanism are called antibodies. Okay. Now, I told you there are for different diseases, there are different vaccination available in the market also, and from the birth, the moment the child is there in the world, he is vaccinated. Okay. So, till the age of 14 or 15, the child is vaccinated, and even in recent time, you must have heard about COVID. For that also, vaccination was very important. Vaccination has been done and it's still going on. Okay. For different diseases like smallpox, typhoid, hepatitis B, there are so many vaccines available in the market. Okay. Now, inside a body. Can you see on your screens? Okay. There are microorganisms present inside a body. These microorganisms help in digestion of food and prevent the colonization of pathogens. Okay. Now, uses of microorganism in the food and beverage industry. How these different microorganisms they use in food industry so that the quality of the food can be retained for a longer time. It does not get spoiled. How they are used in beverage industry and all. Making bread. First is how we are making bread now. Here you can see on your screens also. For making bread, yeast, a type of fungi that plays a major role in the production of bread. Yeast cells are added to the flour while making the dough. Once the dough is made, it is kept undisturbed for a certain period of time during which the yeast cells carry out fermentation. Children, for fermentation of dough, okay, for bread, what do we make it with? Flour, and for that fermentation is very important. And what helps in fermentation? Yeast, okay, and yeast is a bacteria. Fine, children. Even for making curd and all, okay, making curd and cheese, what do we add? We add certain bacteria to them. Okay. Making curd. Okay. We add a spoonful of curd of fresh milk to change into curd. Lactobacillus bacteria present in the curd converts the lactose sugar present in the milk to acid. Okay. Then for making cheese. Production of cheese also involves usage of bacteria like Lactobacillus and Streptococcus. These microorganisms convert the lactose sugar into lactic acid, which is necessary for the production of cheese. So, you can see how different microorganisms they are helping in the production of food, how they are used in beverage industries and all, even for making these wines and all. Okay. In making of these wines and all, what is added to the grapes and all? Different sort of bacteria are added which turns the grapes into wine. Okay. Now, okay. Uses of microorganism in agriculture. Fine, children. Bacteria like rhizobium lives in the root nodules of leguminous plant. They fix the atmospheric nitrogen which results in the formation of nitrates that increase the fertility of the soil. Fine. So, the next one, Uses of microorganisms in environment. Okay, even in the environment, right now I'm standing, there are a lot of microorganisms present on my body, inside my body, and everywhere in the environment. Okay, so children, can you all see now? Okay. Certain bacteria and fungi are saprophytic in nature, that is, they thrive on dead and decaying matter of plants and animals. The degraded remains of these organisms are clean and organisms and clean the environment. Without these microbes, the surface of the earth would have been piled up with remains of dead plants, animals. Okay, so children, there are a lot of microorganisms. Suppose any plant dies or any animal dies, what happens? No one is there to take them and bury in the soil. What happens? Different microbes start growing, and when they start growing, they eat up that plant or that dead animal and helps in keeping the environment clean and green. Fine, children? Then harmful microorganisms. Just now I have told you about all the advantages, how these microorganisms are helping. Now I'll tell you about harmful microorganisms. Okay, fine, children? This is a very beautifully done chart. You can just go through it. You will be able to understand it more clearly. We already know that microbes cause diseases to plants, animals, and human beings. These diseases causing microorganisms are called pathogens. There are different, this table has been made where different type of microorganism, which sort of diseases found, what are the symptoms, how is it transmitted, and what is the treatment for different bacteria, for different viruses, for different things have been shown. You just go through it. Okay. There is nothing much to explain in this because this is done very systematically. You can just go through it. Okay, children? Okay. Now the last topic is food spoilage and preservation. How does the food get spoiled? Okay, and how it can be preserved. So, okay. Can you all see on your screens now? Okay, children. Apart from causing disease in plants and animals and human beings, microorganisms also spoil the food. Intake of spoiled food can cause food poisoning. In case we are going to eat stale food, the food which has been attacked by these microorganisms, we intake it, what will happen? It will create some problem for our health. Okay. The intake of spoiled food can even cause to food poisoning. So, if food prepared is not stored properly, these microorganisms grow on them and produce toxins that give a bad taste and foul smell. First, there are various methods that we can use to preserve food items. First is drying. Drying or dehydration involves removal of water from the food item. Excess of water is removed. Okay, they are dried under the sun and then stored. Example, grapes, plums, and pulses are preserved in this way. Second is canning, children. Canning is a process in which the food items are packed into tins with added preservatives and are stored. What happens? Drying, what were you doing? You were putting that food under the sun, and what was happening? The excess water was evaporated. But in canning, what are we doing? We are adding preservative to it. Okay. Now the next one. If I talk about the next one, okay. Refrigeration and freezing. Food items like meat, eggs, fresh vegetables and fruits are stored in refrigerators or in deep freezers. Storing in deep freezer gives a longer shelf life to the food item. Every house has got a refrigerator. What we do? We put whatever food item is left. We put our milk, we put meat, we put cheese in that. Okay, so that what happens? The temperature is so low in that refrigerator that the microorganisms, they do not get proper temperature to grow. That is why the food items which are kept in the refrigerator can be used for a longer time. Fine. Now the last, sorry, not the last one, by using common salt and water. Can you all see on the screens? For many years, fish and meat are preserved by using salt. Salting prevents microbial growth and it is also used to preserve raw mangoes, amla, tamarind, etc. Pasteurization. In this process, the temperature of the food item is increased to a very high temperature and by heating, and then it is brought down and then again increased. This method kills all the vegetative cell as well as the spores of microorganisms present in the soil. In common, pasteurizing, what are we doing? We are increasing the temperature at a very alarming rate and cooling it to a very, we bring the temperature very down, again high, low, high, low. That way what is happening? This method, they are killing all the vegetative cells and the spores of microorganisms. And the last one is by oil and vinegar. Children, you must have seen your grandmother, your mother, she's putting pickles. And what does she, when she puts the pickle, she uses either salt, either oil or vinegar. What happens when oil is there? Oil and vinegar are used to prepare fruits and vegetables. They prevent the growth of food spoiling microorganisms. Fine, children? Anything else? I think I have done with the chapter now. Kindly go through it once again. Okay, have a nice day. Thank you.